In this brief video, I'm just going to go over some of the procedure of doing a close reading. This is kind of just a follow-up and a modeling of what it looks like. So we start with selecting a text. I picked this text for my 9th and 10th graders as what they would practice with. Some features of the text: it came out of Time magazine, it's recent, it's on a topic that would be, at least, even if it wasn't interesting, it would be related to their life. And it fit one page. I also liked that it had a nice informative title, it had a graphic, it had some statistics, all embedded in this nice little package of one page. I find one page is good for teaching students to read closely. It's enough that they get quite a bit of experience with the annotation process, multiple paragraphs to work with, but it's not so much that you really have to spend more than maybe half an hour on it. So if we look, this is what the text looked like after I selected it and I annotated it. As you can see, I used the symbols that we're trying to work with. I have all these comments in the blank space in the margins. I have stars for things that I found important or essential to the text. I had a couple little exclamation points. Also, I went through and I circled. You can see I circled some words that I thought my students might not know that would be good to define with them, or at least draw their attention to. I even annotated over here. You can see I even annotated the graphic. So if we take a look through, I'm going to kind of talk you through why I annotated it the way I did. I'm not going to read the whole article, that would belabor the point, but I want to at least give you some glimpse into kind of the mental processes and how you would display this for students. When I do this with my students, the first time I model it, I put it up on my Elmo, you could put it up on your smartboard, and I actually talk them through the whole article, and as I annotate, I explain why I'm annotating what I'm doing, and then I try to build connections kind of in a dialogue back and forth with them. And that would really just be the modeling step before I release them to do the work on their own. So starting right with the title, don't let students skip over that. See what they can gather from the title. Sizing up your diet. Sizing up is evaluating, trying to find the correct fit, and diet makes me think health, fitness, and nutrition. In the very beginning of the title, I already have a sense of the topic of the article. Following that is the other part of the title. The soda industry would rather have a talk about exercise. I found both of those things important and essential to the text, so I put stars next to them. And then I just wrote my basic comments. Moving down through, the first thing I hit was Coca-Cola was quietly funding a group of scientists that emphasizes the role of exercise as opposed to diet. Skip down, the first thing I starred that should stand out really significant to the article. Encouraging the idea when you're active you can afford to eat or drink whatever you like. And my little notation in the margin is lots of exercise equals eat whatever. Okay, moving down my annotations, the notion that we can exercise away a bad diet is absolutely unfounded. So we have one position up here, and then we have a counter position down here, and we start to see that there is going to be kind of a back and forth in the article. We move down. Indeed, there isn't strong evidence to show that exercise alone, at least at that level that anyone other than a marathoner maintains, can help people shed pounds and keep them off. I put my little comment, there is no science to support the soda company's claim. If you look down into this section of the text, I put an essential star here, a big essential star next to this. Even with calorie control, sugar is bad. Exclamation points, a surprising way for me to look at it. Our bodies don't treat all calories the same way, especially when they are exposed to a lot of sweets over time, like a car that's repeatedly driven at high speeds and then suddenly halted In this case, the insulin that processes sugar starts to wear down and become less efficient. That's something I didn't know or think about in terms of insulin production and diabetes. So I made sure that in my annotations, you can really see the process of coming down through here and then hitting this big section. I think that's an essential aspect of the text. I made sure that I marked it accordingly. Skipping down as we transition, it's not the first time science has been used to sway public perception. And then over here, you can see I used the connection symbol. Compare soda to tobacco. The tobacco industry famously promoted messages based on studies that claimed to prove that light or low tar cigarettes were less harmful than regular ones. I think that's another essential aspect of the text. And then I concluded the last paragraphs connecting a quote. It's tough to argue with exercise is good for you, which is the soda company's claim, but Coca-Cola is getting involved in a way that isn't in the best interest of public health. And that comes up multiple times in multiple ways throughout the article. So that's basically how I went through and annotated the text. I found that I would be able to teach this to students as far as the process. It's fairly manageable. I can guide them towards an understanding, and they can find all the essential details. We talk about students having a question in that gist level, level 3. They should be able to write about it, and you can go really generic at all grade levels in all content areas. What central idea does the author convey in the article, and what are 2 strategies the author uses to develop this central idea effectively? Again, I wrote this at my high school level. You could point what central idea is in the text. How do you know that that's the central idea? And that would point students to bringing all their annotations together to answer the question and having the evidence to show how they arrived at that answer. They'd be able to do a brief writing, and they would be ready for level 4, which is to talk and discuss about it.